guys? So I am back with another video today. In the video, I'm going to be talking about the best palettes that you can buy for hooded eyes. And don't mind my makeup melting off my face right now. See my bald spot? My eyes have been so freaking irritated lately, but if you like this eye, I just filmed a tutorial, so keep an eye out for that. It may be up before this one, but it may not. So just keep a lookout. It'll be up eventually. So sorry for the lack of videos. I'm not making excuses. Yes, I'm making excuses. But sometimes I feel like, oh my god, should I even really be doing this? Like, am I supposed to be doing this? Because, oh, we're all saying it out, sorry. Because every time I try to film a freaking video, like, some crazy shit happens. My eyes have been, look at this, look, ooh. My eyes have been so freaking irritated lately that, yeah, I got, like, the whole bald spot thing going on. Because they won't stop watering. But anyways, let's talk about what the video is about, shall we? Yes. In the video today, I'm going to be talking about palettes that you can buy if you have hooded eyes. If you don't know what hooded eyes are eyes like mine, that where you cannot see all of the movable portion of your lid, or you have like your hood, whatever it's called. This part of your eye kind of hangs over your eyes like so. So makeup application can be really hard, and it can be really hard to kind of decide like what palettes are the right palettes for you if you have that eye shape, and either you're just learning that you have that eye shape, or you're not really sure what you should be buying because you're not really sure about the placement of your shadows. So let's talk about first like where you should be placing your shadows. If you have hooded eyes, you're gonna want to keep the lightest part of your shadow on the movable part of your lid, so that way it brings that forward. Anything that is lighter or light reflective will pull forward, and anything that is darker or matte will recede. So you want to recede this and pull this forward. So what you want to do is put a darker matte color up in your crease and above your crease, and then a light shimmery color on your lids. So with that being said, I've got a couple of palettes here that I figured would be like a good starting point for you if you're not really sure, you know, which way to go palette wise, because let's be honest, palettes are the best bang for your buck. I'm a total palette whore. I honestly probably only have maybe 10 single eyeshadows. The rest of them are palettes. I think I am going to be buying some Makeup Geek shadows though, because you can make the little Z palette and turn it into a palette and make it into a palette. That's what I'm into, is palettes. So that's what I'm going to do. I have like 3 or 4 MAC shadows, but I don't have them in palettes. That's enough of me rambling. Let's just talk about the palettes. So the first palette is the ever so popular, mine looks a little skanky. I hate this material, like that NARS, like, because it picks everything up. Anyways, one of the best palettes for hooded eyes, in my opinion, is the Lorac Pro Palette. Now with this palette, reason being is obviously mine's had a lot of use. You have the top row is all matte and the bottom row is all shimmer. It goes from light colors to dark colors, so you can do like a really light fresh look all the way to a really deep dark smoky look. So the reason I like this palette is because the shadows are intensely pigmented, for one. For another, you've got all these mattes to choose from, and you're not pulling out of anything else. So for instance, with the Naked palettes, you only have 2 matte colors in each palette, and like the Naked 3, honestly the Naked 3 is the only one that I own because of that, but this one I just had to have because of the color range. But there's only 2 matte colors in each one of the Naked palettes. Now with only 2 matte colors and then all these colors, you really only have like a transition color and then just a little bit deeper of a color. So like if you wanted to do a smoky eye with this palette, like, and a smoky eye for a hooded eye person is, you know, bringing that dark color up on the hood part of your eye, which could be dark side or black heart, but they're shimmery, so that's going to pull that forward and it's going to close your eyes off. So that's why I like the Lorac Pro Palette so much. That's why I like the Lorac palette so much, because it's got this whole range of mattes. So you've got transition color for a matte, you've got a deeper color for a matte, you just got the whole shebang. Now another palette which is totally similar to this one is the Smashbox Full Exposure Palette. Now the Full Exposure Palette is set up pretty much the same as the Lorac palette. Now if you feel like this color range is just not your forte, you can always go with this one. The colors of these two palettes are fairly similar. However, I do like the shimmers in the Lorac palette way better than the shimmers in the Smashbox palette, but the mattes in the Full Exposure palette don't have as much fallout as what they do in the Lorac palette. Both really pigmented palettes, both have great color payoff. This one goes, rather than going a light to dark, it goes light to dark this way, and this side's warm neutrals, this side's cool tone neutrals. So that's just another palette to keep in mind. The price of this one, I believe, is $38, between $38 and $42. I can't remember what it was last time I looked. The price of this one is $48. Now the next one is something that's a little bit smaller, and that is the Lorac Unzipped palette. If you like really, you know, like the rose tones, like the Naked 3, this would be the perfect palette, because you've got these like matte transition shades, you've got your shimmers, you've got a matte brow bone highlight, which I love. And that's another thing that the Naked palettes don't come with, is a matte brow bone highlight. I'm all one for a matte brow bone, just because if you're putting a whole bunch of shimmer up here, that's bringing that forward, and what it does is kind of bring this whole part of your eye completely forward, and then again closing your eye off, just like if you were to put shimmer right here. So, you know, but that's why I wasn't really interested in the Naked palettes. I love the colors in them, but I'm like, that is just too much shimmer for me. Now, the Lorac Unzipped palette, this is one of my very favorite palettes. Like, I love this thing. It's so pretty on the eyes. And to be honest, a lot of the times when I very first got my Naked 3 palette, I was actually coming and reaching into this palette for this unbridled shade, because I wanted like a deeper look, or I wanted like a smokier look. But in this palette, you've got 3 mattes, so you've got a couple of transition colors, and then you've got this deep dark unbridled shade, and then you've got the matte brow bone highlight, and you've got all these shimmers to choose from. So this one is another really, really good palette if you are a hoodie. Now this one, I think, I want to say it's $36, but I could be wrong. I should have looked up the prices before I did this. Sorry about that. The next palette, the next 2 palettes actually, or 3 palettes. The next one is the Kat Von D Ladybird palette. I absolutely love this. I was obsessed with this palette for a whole month straight. I used nothing but this palette. Now with this palette, you will have to reach for like a shimmer shade if you want like something shimmery on the lid. You could always use this color on your lid. I usually use this for my brow bone, but I do tend to have to reach for another shimmery shade to put on my lid when I use this palette. But anyways, this palette's really, really gorgeous. This orange in the palette is absolutely gorgeous. I love this burnt orange color. These colors are the same, insanely pigmented. For me, the Ladybird palette was insanely hard to find. I live in a really small town, and there is a lot of hype about this palette on YouTube. So Whenever there's a lot of hype about something on YouTube, my Sephora usually sells out. I don't have a freestanding Sephora. I only have a Sephora, JCPenney Sephora or whatever. So usually when something's pretty popular, like right now, the, what's it called? Her Esperanza palette or whatever it is, has been sold out for weeks. So that was the same with this. I literally waited like 6 months to get this because I hate ordering shit online. Yeah, so this is another option. Like I said, you will have to reach for a shimmer, but at the same time, you've got all these mattes. And really, when you have hooded eyes, the matte colors are going to be more the basis of your look. So the matte colors are what you're using to kind of bring your whole look together, not the shimmer on your lid. The shimmer on your lid is just like a pop, like with what I got going on here. So the shimmer on my lid is just a pop, but all these mattes is what brings my look together and what actually makes the look. So the next palette is the Stila in the No palette. I just got this palette, but I've used it at work 1,000 times. I've used it on a ton of clients, and it's a really beautiful palette. I love Stila eyeshadows. They're really creamy, really pigmented. They're just really, really good eyeshadows. Now this is really similar to this. So if you are unable to find the Ladybird palette, you could totally get the Stila in the No palette, and you got about the same color range here. The only thing you're missing from palette to palette is that blue and that purple. So if you're somebody that likes neutrals, then either one of these palettes would be perfect. Like I said, you are going to have to reach for a shimmer for your lid, but some people, I like to use like the cream mattes and stuff on my lid too. So either way. Now this last palette that I got is, my hands are jacked up, sorry. This last palette that I got, I just got it about a week ago, but this literally, I feel like, was made for hooded eye girls because it's absolute perfection. So the palette I'm talking about is the It Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette, which, by the way, is what I used on my eyes in what I got going on right now. I use this palette for that. Spit it out. So this palette is also an all matte palette. It's an all matte neutral palette, but the neutrals are just really, really unique, and they're really different from any other of these palettes. Most neutrals are like, you know, your soft browns and your deep browns and whatever else, but this one's, I don't know, there's just something really unique about it, something I really like about it. Now, in this palette, you've got this Transforming Pearl shade, which is like this pearly, shimmery shade, and what you do is take one of these shades, and then you put the, oh, I didn't think that was going to happen, but you put the Transforming Pearl shade over it. So the cool thing about the It Cosmetics palette is it has this Transforming Pearl shade, and the cool thing about this one is this is like this shimmery, like pearly looking shade, and you're supposed to be able to put this over top of any one of these mattes and turn it into a shimmer. So the cool thing about this is that you've got all these mattes, and then supposedly all these are also shimmer. So you could totally use all these colors on your lid and then totally use all these colors in your crease, which is just like perfection. Like, honestly, if you want to know my top of the top, this is the top of the top. This is the perfect palette for a hooded eye girl. So, I love it. I love it. I've got it. I love it. I got it a week ago, and I've been using nothing else on my eyes, like literally. I haven't even used this. I got this a few days ago when Ulta had like their beauty steal or whatever. I got this for 20 bucks. But yeah, I got this like 3 or 4 days ago. Usually when I get a palette, I like dig right in and start playing with it. But I honestly haven't even been interested in this because of this. Colors are kind of the same, but you know. when there's a palette for $20, I can't pass it up, especially when it's regularly $40. So anyways, yeah, so this one's a great one. Too Faced did just come out with a chocolate bar palette. That also is a really good hooded eye palette because it's got a huge range of shimmers, and I think it has, I want to say like 6 or 7, probably only 4. Where the hell did I get 6 or 7? I think it has like 4 mattes in it, but it does have like a good transition shade, and it's got a good deepening shade, so that also would be a good one. So alright guys, so that's just a few of the palettes that if you're somebody that's like just starting off in makeup, or you just found out that you have hooded eyes, or whatever the case may be, those are a few palettes that can give you like a good start. What I think I'm going to do is a drugstore version of this, just because that's all high end, and I know not everybody can afford like a $50 palette. So thumbs this video up if you want to see like a drugstore version of that, or of this, what I just did. Sorry, I don't know what my problem is today. Like, I just, like, the words will not come out of my mouth. Anyways, yeah, so I hope you guys like this, and I hope it helped you and like gave you an idea of, you know, some palettes that you can go out and get if you feel like you're kind of stuck. If you guys want a video on kind of like the basics of hooded eyes, like some of the things that you should be doing, shadow placement, stuff like that, then just let me know in the comments and I can totally do that too. So yeah, that about wraps it up, and I will see you guys in my next vid. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.